We pick a jury, and then we give them jury instructions. Did you know that? It's a big, thick book in California. They are jury instructions that help jurors examine evidence, because there are certain rules of evidence. I want to go through a few that will help you communicate the truth of the gospel to your friends. You have to know these truths about evidence before you can even make a case for Christianity. You ready? This first one's really simple. There are two categories of evidence. If you've seen my presentations, you already know a lot of what I'm going to talk about, but I will just kind of cover it quickly for those of you who have not seen this before. There are only two kinds of evidence. You've got direct evidence and indirect evidence. That's very good. That makes sense, right? And direct evidence is just eyewitness testimony, and indirect evidence is all the other stuff. Indirect evidence is also called circumstantial evidence. So when I say I've got fingerprints, that's not direct evidence. If you think you have to have direct evidence to make a good case, really? I've never had a direct evidence case. My cases are all circumstantial. All. The only thing that counts as direct evidence is an eyewitness. Remember I told you this, I showed you this once a couple of years ago when I was here. If I'm making a case against this guy for a murder, I can make it one of two ways. I can ask a witness to tell me what she saw, and if she can identify what he did, I can make a case with just one piece of evidence, her eyewitness testimony. That would be a direct evidence case. But if it's a slightly different case, let's say, for example, he had a mask on his face at the time of the murder, well, now she cannot identify him. I don't have a direct evidence case. I have to build this a different way. I have to go and talk to him about his alibi, and I have to examine what I find in the search warrant, the bat, the clothing I might find in the search warrant. I have to see if he had a key. Could he have a way to get into this to commit this murder? I have to talk to him and get his statements. I have to see if the clothing, the shoes he has match what the witness says. I've got to look at what he's written about this event afterwards. I got to even look and see if his car matches the car that was seen. These are not pieces of direct evidence. These are indirect pieces of evidence. And if I have enough, I can move from the possibility of him being guilty to the most reasonable inference. Why? Because all of these pieces of evidence point to him. And these kinds of cases are very robust usually. I don't typically do them with 8 pieces of evidence. I will usually have 80 pieces of evidence. And if I do it this way, it's not with eyewitnesses. This is called a circumstantial evidence case. Now, it turns out that what we're doing, by the way, in the book, Cold Case Christianity, I drew it this way. Here he is. Of course, if you use more pieces, I want a ton more pieces, maybe 10 times as many pieces. I call that death by 1,000 paper cuts. Got it? Now, why am I a Christian? Because when I first examined the Gospels to see if they were reliable, I had to build a case. And I built them on 4 aspects of eyewitness reliability. I've got a diagram for you. There it is. Death by 1,000 paper cuts. This is the large body of evidences that point to the Gospels as reliable. We're not going to cover that tonight, but my point is that's an entirely circumstantial case. So what? Circumstantial evidence is every bit as valid as direct evidence. Did you know that? We even have a jury instruction for it. I'll show it to you. Here it is in California. Judges tell juries all the time that both direct and circumstantial evidence are acceptable types of evidence. In fact, neither is entitled to any greater weight than the other. So if you think it's just a circumstantial case, that's all they have is a circumstance. Stop saying that. Because circumstantial evidence is to be used exactly with the same weight as direct evidence. So we can make a case for Christianity, and don't let anyone tell you that if you don't have an eyewitness who can say they saw it and they can stand right here to be cross-examined, you can't trust it. That's every case I work.